Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Soulful Abundance with Chris Williams. I'm Chris Williams, and we have one of my dear friends, Crystal, here today. I'm so excited. Crystal and I have been friends for, gosh, over a year. We've been in multiple programs, different opportunities together, and I was like, Crystal, you have to come on my podcast. So I'm just so grateful that you're here, Crystal. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about some really cool stuff today. We know that the market has been a little wonky, to say the least.
Say the
People are
least,
going out of
yes.
business, people are changing their business models, people are like a lot of crazy things. And, so Carol Crystal is going to share with us, some of the ways that she's pivoted. And we're just going to talk about, the pivot piece, right? Because as an entrepreneur, I mean, regardless of whether the economy is contracted or expansive, I feel like we're always making pivots,
Yes.
right? I think that there's this illusion that you're going to set it and it's going to be done and it's going to be good forever. And at least in my journaling, it's never been that way. There's always tweaks or up levels or honing things or mastering things or deciding what you want to keep or what you want to let go. And so I just am excited to kind of hear how you have pivoted. So how have you pivoted? Like, what are some things that you've done when you're like, all right, like, what do I want to do now?
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good question. And, it's so funny too, because like you said, even me, I had this idea like, oh, I'm going to get everything set up. It's going to be running smooth and then it's just going to be smooth sailing. And then
Yeah,
it's like, no, 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 that's not
I know,
it.
right?
Throughout my business journey over the past 4 years, I've had several pivots. Starting with, I started out as a VA and then very quickly got very busy, which was amazing. But I realized like I was the jack of all trades, master of none. And I was just constantly trying to learn new things and new systems and do all the things for all my clients because I love all my clients and I wanted to support them, but it really wasn't supporting me or them at the highest level because I didn't have my focus on one specific thing. So
Yeah,
that was the first big pivot. And it kind of like, I feel like it almost kind of just boils to a head where you're like, all right, something has to change because
yeah,
I was like pulling my hair out trying to learn too much all
yeah,
at one time. And I wanted to help everyone. And it's like, okay, like, the way I can actually support them and me better energetically and just sanity is by really honing in on one specialized skill. And that's
mhm,
what led me into my ads business. So that was the
mhm.
first major pivot that I had.
I love that. And it really is true. Like we get like this nudge and then it becomes stronger until you're like, all right, like we're doing something. Like, how is this going to go now?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's like just for scalability, like depending on, I just saw really quickly like I said, I was so happy. I was like had 6 or 7 clients, but at
Mhm.
that time I just had like little like $300 or $400 packages, which was
Yeah.
wonderful, but for the amount of time I was working and, just all hours of the day and night, it was like, okay, this isn't sustainable, because it
Yeah.
wasn't making such a big difference financially for us because I was
Yeah.
working so much. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was a big piece of it. And then just, I think just kind of rolling with the punches almost of like what you feel people need, how the market is shifting. And
Mhm.
like I said, I knew at that time, like for me to be able to really serve people more, I needed to go and learn a highly valuable skill.
Yeah.
Whether I had thought about website design or, a few different directions, ultimately I did land on ads.
Hmm.
But yeah, just kind of like refining things as you go
Yep.
in order to protect your own energy because I'm
Yeah.
one of those people that will just work, 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 work until I get burnt out. So that's
Mhm.
also been a huge lesson, I feel like, in the business journey and making the pivots is almost like you kind of have to set those boundaries with yourself, with the clients, and just
Yeah.
it's like almost a streamlined process to protect your energy from burnout and all of that too.
Oh my gosh, it's so true, especially when we're starting, right? So for those of you that are listening to this that you're starting, it really might feel like you're doing all of the things that you're trying so hard. And, there will come a point where you're like, okay, what am I keeping? What am I not keeping? Because
Mhm.
it's not sustainable. And it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's
Right.
just that you are learning and you're growing and you are able to discern, okay, like what's the next step now? I've got this piece dialed in, what's the next step? How do I want to move forward to make it energetically more sustainable, financially more sustainable in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like? And I had to do the same thing. I remember it was 2019 and it was November, and I had sold out all of my one-on-one spots for 2020 already. And it's
Wow.
November 2019, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what do I do now? Like, what
Yeah.
am I going to do for the year, right? Like,
Right.
so I had to, shift into a different, it's not that I stopped doing one-on-one. Had to shift from one to one to many, and
Mhm.
so that was kind of like the next step there. And as I built and grew my group programs, then there was, different ideas of like, okay, how do I want to navigate, this space and this journey? And entrepreneurship is so like that,
Right.
because sometimes we think we're going to like something and we try it and then we're like, you know what, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be. So I'll let that
Mhm.
piece go and I'm going to go in this direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so wild. How amazing though, right? It's like you were completely booked out, but you're also going like, "Oh my gosh, how am I gonna sustain this?"
Yeah, I knew energetically that I couldn't, right? So I think a lot of
Mhm.
times people think just monetarily, but we really need to think energetically too,
Yes.
and that's one of the things when I work with my clients on their goals, I'm like, okay, this is what you want, but do you have the energetic capacity to create that, to do what it takes to create that? Let's take a look at, you know, your pricing. Let's take a look at your model. Like, let's make sure that you are not over giving, from the perspective of you've got no time left for yourself, because burnout is so normal for entrepreneurs because we are high achievers, right? Like we wouldn't be entrepreneurs if we didn't want to build something that was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like so I find that is a lot of clients that I work with, taking a look at my own, journey of where I needed to pull back and what parameters I needed to put in to discern,
Mhm.
my energetic capacity and making sure that it was in alignment with my goals and vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I do feel like when you're first starting out, I mean, not that it gets less exciting, but it's like you're learning all the things and it is really exciting, and then it almost I mean, just part of that burnout, I guess, but you're kind of like information overload and you start to go
Yeah.
like, "Okay," like for me, I know I was stuck in what I call like learning mode for
Yeah.
so long when I first started my ads business that I really had it was a difficult pivot, I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes courses and stuff, they'll make it sound like, "Oh, you'll be, up and running in a month and have all these clients and all the
You're
things."
gonna make $1 billion in your dreams today.
Right, exactly, and that was very much like when I was making the ads pivot, kind of what was pitched to me, which we know how it goes with some things like that. And it was not quite that simple, especially for me because I have a lot of integrity, like, I wanna do a really great job, and I feel like for me to just get on a call and be like, "I'm gonna charge you all this money to do this skill that I really hadn't refined yet,"
Yeah.
I felt it very, very difficult to put myself out there for it.
Mhm.
And also some money mindset work started to come into
Mhm.
play where I started going like, "Oh, wow, I had never heard of like your money story or like,
Yeah.
these different beliefs that we have growing up." And I started unearthing all of this stuff that I was like, "Wow, I didn't even know all of this was in there." But as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, like you said, it's like one of those things where it's like you've got to make decisions and start to uncover. I mean, what a personal development journey entrepreneurship is.
Yes.
I feel
Right?
like we learn so much about ourselves. Um,
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, so well said, for sure.
yeah.
Those money beliefs are in there, behind there. And it's so funny because I think also I don't know about you, but I thought, okay, well, I'm just gonna like get rid of these. Like it's like a light switch, and
Mhm.
they don't go away. They just
Right.
shift, right?
Yes.
Talk about new levels, new devils. I remember when I was building my health coaching practice, when I was doing that, and it
Uh-huh.
was like, oh my gosh, if I raise my price, to this amount, nobody is going to work with me, right? And then
Mhm.
I did, and of course, people did, and then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, but I can't. But it was like every level that you expanded and you stepped into, brought up whatever was kind of talking to you in the background. And so it's a constant, money mindset, money work, identity work, all of it really is a personal growth journey that we
Mhm.
work on all the freaking time. Even the people that you see making 10 million, 20 million, $100 million a year, like
Yeah.
they still got to work on this stuff too.
Right, right. I know. It's so true. The new levels, new devils thing. Like I think about that all the time too, because it's like you almost come up against this wall. But also as you're growing, I mean, we do have so much more experience, obviously,
Yeah.
than when we first started. So it is
Yep.
kind of like I feel like a natural process of just
Yeah.
growing and raising your prices, all of that stuff,
Mhm.
because working with you at the level that you get to is like gonna get people better results faster kind of
Yep.
thing.
Exactly.
So, that's another thing that I had to kind of work through in my brain and realize like, yes, I started here, but like it does make sense to kind of like go up because my skill level has gone up. So, that was helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're not meant to stay at the starting rate, right? Because the more you work with your clients, the more, the results that they're getting, but you're learning right along with them to be better in whatever the services that you're providing. And
Yeah.
you can help people get results quicker. It doesn't mean that you're not helping them in the beginning. You absolutely are. And that's kind of like another mindset issue of, well, I haven't, figured this out 1,000% for me. So who am I to,
Right.
right? That's just
Yeah.
that's just one of those gremlins in the background. You just need to be further down the freeway,
Yeah.
than the person that you're supporting because
Yeah.
we don't do this work on our own. There's no way that we can. And it is the simple fact that you're supporting them in creating whatever transformation that they
Mm.
want to create that is going to get them, the results that they want to get.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone listening who is starting out and they're feeling like it's tough, like keep going would be like some advice I could give. If
Yeah.
you need to get scrappy, like when I first started my ads business, like I said, I had so much imposter syndrome. I was like so scared to put myself out there. It was a long pivot for me. It probably took about a year for me to really get going in my ads business. I mean, I had a few clients, lower cost clients, and what I actually did that I felt was extremely helpful is I went and worked with some agencies for the
Hmm.
experience, and it was
Yes.
wonderful. I wasn't making, the premium rates that I ultimately wanted to be charging, but the amount of experience I gained in those opportunities, I mean, it was a win-win, right? Because I'm like
Yeah.
supporting the other business and also learning so much and just gaining that experience and confidence.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do feel like in the pivot, if you need to get a
Yeah.
little scrappy, it's okay, and then just
Absolutely.
keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you talk about getting scrappy because there really is no perfect. There's
Yeah.
like we're not creating a plan from A to Z, and that plan is not going to go directly from A to B, from B to C. Like that's an illusion. And
Mhm.
and when you get scrappy, though, what you're doing though is you're actually creating momentum because you're taking action
Yes.
versus
Yes.
we
Oh,
can be consumers, right? So
yeah.
there's a difference between learning our skill, right?
Mhm.
Getting our skill, getting the certification, learning what or whatever it is that we need to do to provide the service, but then
Mhm.
actually taking the action
Yeah,
to get it out there.
absolutely. Yes, and even if it doesn't feel like it's working, I mean, I was thinking this morning as I was getting ready for our interview, I was thinking, how cool that I get to do this podcast interview. I still remember a few years ago working from the kitchen table, just thinking like I was setting up coffee chats, just getting to
Mhm.
know people in the
Yeah,
business and everything like that. And it was so cool when I started like having these calls and meetings and stuff. And I was just like dreaming of the day that I would have like client calls or podcast interviews and then like to actually
mhm.
be sitting here and doing it. It's just so neat to think back and just remember when I was like, oh, I wish I was like busy with like things like this.
Yes, and now you're here.
Yeah, now I'm
Yay!
here. So it's so fun. It does get, I mean, like I said, it wasn't like the easiest pivot, but I just knew if I kept going and kept, meeting new people and putting myself out there and just really grinding it out for a while, I always kept the faith that I would get there. So I feel
Yeah.
like that's a big thing. Like, don't faith
Absolutely. Thank you so
before
much for
you get
speaking into that because I think, where at least where I see my clients getting stuck or even in the coaching industry, and I know that you also are in the coaching industry with life coaching and in addition to doing the ads. We'll talk about that pivot in a minute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but there is a lot of because of the imposter syndrome that many coaches have, they tend to instead of taking action, they tend to take the action of getting another certification, right?
Mhm.
Versus
Yep.
actually doing what they need to do to generate revenue in their business. And there's a big difference, right? They think that all they need is another certification or they need another modality or they need to, when act, what they really need to do is start with the certification that they have and they need to start monetizing that and doing what it is that they need to bring revenue in instead of being in that imposter syndrome of just accumulating certifications and
Yes,
consuming education.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, guilty. I'm like called out in such
I've
a
got 12 certifications. So I over the years, I'm
yeah.
like, all right, let me get another certification, right?
Yes.
But certifications don't equal revenue. And that's
Right.
really what I want to say to people is
Mm.
if you are implementing the business practices of the actions that actually generate revenue, then yeah, you can monetize your certification. But just getting a certification doesn't naturally create a business. Like it's not that if you build it, they will come. Like,
Right.
I
Oh my
drink that
gosh.
Kool-Aid and it is not like that, let me tell you.
Yes, yes. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up too, because that was me also. Like I kept reinvesting the money, which I mean, investing is great.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Always have a coach, always have support. But I definitely was of the mindset like this is gonna be the thing
yeah.
that's then going to open the floodgates. And it's like, well, no, like I was stuck in that learning mode
Mhm.
instead of actually marketing myself, taking the steps. I mean, I was kind of, but like ultimately I just had the mindset of like, oh, I just need one more certification or one more,
Yeah,
course and it's going
yeah,
to be the secret sauce. But
yep,
really the secret sauce is like a big thing I realize is like no one has all the answers. Even the
yeah.
$1 million, $1 billion brands and coaches, they don't always know what they're doing either. They just take
Mhm.
bold action in the direction of their dreams, you
Oh
know?
my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to give you a big amen here because we're seeing it now in the market, right?
Oh,
Even
yeah.
coaches that are making multiple millions of dollars
Mhm.
are firing teams, turning their business upside down, going
Yeah.
out of business. Like they're, again, so just because someone makes a lot of money at one point in time, doesn't mean that
Mhm.
they have all the answers when things start shifting and changing. It's a new landscape for everybody right now.
Exactly. Yes, yes. And that's the next piece I wanted to get to. The
Yeah,
current pivot that I'm going through,
yeah,
kind of as a result of AI heating up in the marketplace. I know there's a lot of people feeling uncertain and stuff like that. And with me, it's almost like I'm at the point where I'm ready to diversify and get multiple streams of income from different,
yep,
segments. And
yep,
like you mentioned, I love the coaching industry because it's done so much for me. Most
yep.
of my ad clients are coaches, so
Mhm.
even more love for the coaching industry, getting to work with more coaches. But yeah, just kind of like with everything that's going on, I'm seeing such a shift towards people craving more human connection. I know
Yep,
we've been talking about
yep,
this a little bit
yep.
already, but I felt that even within myself recently is like I love being in person. Like, why don't I start to shift some of my focus to being in person? And this is where my woo woo and manifestation comes into play because as soon as I really got clear on that vision, opportunities just started like falling into my path. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, it's so cool when that happens. So I'm in the midst of some big projects right now for 2026 that I'm so excited about. Um,
Stay tuned. I
yes,
know what
stay tuned.
they are.
But yeah, part of another pivot, so it's not, oh, like I finally got the ad clients. I mean, I was up to, I
Yeah.
think like 7 ad clients and it was
Wow.
amazing
Yeah,
this year.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I dreamed of. But sometimes it's like you get there and then things start to change in the market.
yep,
And it's like never gonna be, like you said, it's quite so easy, like everything's ready and then you're making $1 million. It's like just
yeah,
staying flexible, I feel like, and
yeah,
just being able to ride the waves and also kind of just being open to, like you said, I mean, we have people that have been in the industry for years and they're changing their strategies, they're trying different things. Don't be afraid to experiment and just,
yes.
really dial into what your audience needs, or even I mean, like I said, like I started to crave in person. So I started thinking in my mind, like, well, how could I get more into doing more in person
Yeah,
stuff and bringing
yep,
people together? Um,
yeah,
so yeah, so that's a little bit about what I got going on now.
yeah. I love that. And I love that, what you're doing is you're trusting your heart and your
Mm,
intuition when you get that kind of hit. that
Yeah.
intuitive hit of, take a look over here. Maybe this is something that might be fun. But you're
Yeah.
doing it also from that fun place, right? Not the, oh my God, what do I got to do to make the money and get the client? But what would be fun? Like
Yeah.
what would I enjoy doing that would feel good to me, that would also be beneficial, that I would like, to work with more people with?
Yeah.
I really think that that's key because we can get off track by thinking that we've got to, force something to happen.
Mhm.
What do I need to do now in order to make the money versus, well, what lights you up? Like, what would feel
Yeah.
good and light and fun? Because ultimately, if you don't love it, you're not going to stick with it long enough for it to make any traction, anyways, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh, I'm out. Like, this isn't fun
Absolutely.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that too, how you said lean into what's lighting you up. And that's such
Yeah.
a key thing. I feel like for me, like I just until recently, I was like, can I even do something that also lights me up? Because I was always,
Mhm.
in my 20s and everything, had like the fun jobs, or like I was a yoga teacher and it was like all of this stuff that I was like, oh, I don't care about money. Like it was all about what I enjoyed doing. And then I was like, oh, well, unfortunately, the society we live in, you kind of need money. And like now that I've like, opened up my money beliefs, it's also like I can make so much more of a positive impact in
Yes.
the world by like allowing money to flow through me and like
Yep.
support other people and just do
Mhm.
so much more. So it really shifted for me on like what I can do. And then yeah, starting to bring the fun back into it and not feeling so pigeonholed like, okay, I have to stick with ads or, my business is gonna all blow up.
Yeah.
So right now that's kind of I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna set like a number that feels good for me of ad clients. I'm gonna make
Hmm.
that my goal. I'm very lucky and blessed that I do have a few long-term clients that are absolutely amazing. So of course, continue working with them, but also
Hmm.
just to start kind of experimenting with what else I can do and stepping
Yeah.
into more of a coach leadership role because my business has literally changed my entire life, and that's what
Yeah.
it all comes back down to for me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that, because we're going to get a little woo here, but, the energetics of stepping into what lights you up actually is in the energy of abundance. Like that's really where the divine downloads, the quantum lives when we are saying, what would be fun? What could I do?
Mhm.
What might this look like? What is it that I want? And then you're looking at it from a perspective of it actually happening
Yeah.
and it being fun versus the other is this is the problem. My business is struggling. I don't have the clients. So we're either focused on the problem, which is in scarcity. I don't have
Yeah.
what it is that I want, right? Which
Right.
actually leads to more fear and more doubt, increases our nervous system. Then we're reacting emotionally. We can't think logically versus
Right.
all of that is calm, then we can be like, okay, but what would be fun,
Yeah.
right? Instantly, our nervous system is calm. We're working out of our prefrontal cortex. We're dreaming, we're thinking. It opens to those divine downloads that are like, oh, but what about this? And
Yeah.
honestly, that's how I built my business from that perspective of, but what would be fun? Like, what could I do? What might this look like? And I really think that has a huge impact, especially when we have to make pivots. Not
Mhm.
trying to make the pivots from this place of fear or scarcity,
Mhm.
because I don't think
Oh,
we make good decisions that way.
oh, absolutely. Everything you just said was so good. Oh my gosh, like being in the scarcity and the like fear and
Mhm.
contraction, or just getting curious and saying, well, what is this opening up space for? And that's, oh my gosh, another huge moment I had. It was actually about this time last year. I had let go of some clients that I'll just say were unaligned. What they weren't really ideal clients for ads. Like,
Mhm.
and it just immediately opened up so much space for me to have the aligned clients coming in. So that's
Yeah.
another thing too. It's almost like instead of seeing it as a loss, seeing it as this is opening space now for me to
Yes.
do stuff that's fun and lights me up. And it's still, I mean, if not more valuable when you're doing something that you're really passionate about. So
Yeah,
it's so fun.
absolutely. Well, and you bring the energy to it. Like when you're excited about it and you love it,
Mhm.
versus, oh my God, I have to get on the call today, right? It's like,
Yeah. Oh my God.
what? Like you're
Yeah.
even more, the energetic experience that you're providing for your client is
Yeah.
even better.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I
Totally.
love this. We need to like
Oh, we can
Hang
have
out more often,
yeah,
Crystal.
I know, I know, that's what I was thinking too. And even like an energy thing from like, when I first started my business, I was like still stuck in people pleaser mode, like totally.
Yeah,
I was like all hours responding to client texts and all that because I wanted to do a good job. But what I actually saw was like it was depleting me energetically to be so
mm,
available all the time
yeah,
and it's an ongoing process. I'm still working on it, but just like
uh,
tightening up your boundaries and figuring out what feels good for you also, I think can be helpful in like getting that clear vision. And people almost, I feel like not even respect you more, but I feel like sometimes it's like good for them to also have that boundary because it protects
yeah,
their energy and your energy. And it just makes such a cleaner relationship. Or I've even had like this pop
yeah.
up very recently as of like yesterday where like I've learned like maybe like setting deadlines on people to make decisions is actually
Yes,
supporting both of us in a good
yes.
way.
Oh my gosh. And,
So
I think that those types of boundaries too, when we hold boundaries for ourselves energetically, we're also giving other people permission to
yeah.
have a model for what that looks like too,
Oh,
right?
yeah. So cool.
Yeah, I remember when, gosh, I was homeschooling my kids. So this was like a long time ago. And I remember asking one of my friends who was also homeschooling her kids, I'm like, do you want to like get together and like, have a play date? And she's like, yeah, but this week isn't going to work for me. At first I was like offended. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you move stuff around? Like,
Yeah.
and then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, what a great example to be like, thanks
Yeah.
for asking. This isn't going to work for me this week. Let's find a
Right.
different time. I mean, it
Mhm.
was just such a beautiful example of how you can lovingly create a boundary. And it
Mhm.
gave me permission to also say, oh, I can do that too. Like, I don't have to like rearrange everything just to please somebody or not hurt someone's feelings. I can actually say, thanks so much for asking, but this isn't going to work for me here.
Yeah.
Let's try this over here, or it's not going to work for me at all. Like, no, I can't make
Right.
that casserole right now. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Or even in our family, I remember this is so funny. I'm totally telling on my husband now. I love my husband. He's amazing. And
Yeah.
he was like, hey, I'm going on this trip. This package might be delivered. It needs to be signed for. I'm like, I've got calls today.
Yeah.
I'm going
Right.
to be on Zoom. I actually have clients. That might not be possible for me.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's like your emergency does not now become my emergency. Like, I'm not going to cancel and reschedule clients so that I can be available to sign for your package. I'm
Right.
sorry. Like, I can't do
Absolutely.
that.
Oh my god, what a great example. I mean, but yeah, like you said, the one lady, it was like a snowball effect for you
Yeah.
permission to then be like, "You know what? I don't have to rearrange my whole day because of this little thing you have going on." Like,
Yeah, I
what
know.
you do?
I know.
Oh,
I'm like, I
so
love
powerful.
you. And like, I'm
Yeah,
running a business here. I've
right.
got my own clients here. Right.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much stuff like that though that I think through my business journey and it's just been such a beautiful journey of learning boundaries and how to protect my energy and like I said it's still an ongoing process but yeah, starting to get curious and lean into the fun cuz I love my business. Like it
Yeah.
literally is like my favorite thing ever. I feel like, becoming a mom, I kind of was like a little bit lost for a second there, like, "Oh, I'm just mom," and I know because we love
Yeah.
moms, but it's like, I
Yeah.
really feel like my business just gave me such a sense of purpose beyond,
Yeah.
just being a mom too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been so cool, kind of like my lifeline for, when I am getting stuck
Totally.
in the mom mode, and it's like, "Okay, I also
Yeah.
have this other thing that's for me, and I can support
Mhm.
people," and it's just been so wonderful, and then working with other women like you and just, oh my gosh, I can't even begin, to describe the community of women online that I've
Oh
met.
my gosh. I know. Sometimes I'm like, I can't believe like this is so cool. Like, how
Yeah,
cool is this? That, this wasn't available even when I was, raising my kids, this type
yeah,
of being able to have an online business or to have a podcast like this, or, heck, they didn't even have iPhones back then. I'm
yeah,
like, I thought it was really cool that I was able to like actually get one of those headsets that,
yeah,
I could walk around with the phone in my belt and actually have a conversation while I'm making dinner and handling the kids.
I love it.
But it's the opportunity today for
Yeah,
women to financially create amazing businesses. is wide open. So for those of you that are just starting, I want you to hear me say it's only opening doors for you. Like please don't worry about, a contracted market. Like there are
Yes.
so many ways that you can still, like so many ways that you can build an amazing business and grow an amazing business. So yeah, I would love to hear, what would be, something that you would say to people if they're like, I don't know, I want to do this, but I'm not really sure how. Like what would be the next thing?
Yeah, well, for me, just speaking from my personal experience, I mean, I've always had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. And so I had tried different things. I had done Poshmark, like selling clothes
Oh,
online.
I remember Poshmark.
Yeah, and I mean, I had some success. Was it worth the amount of time I put in? Probably not, but I learned a lot,
But
and it
you
was
learned,
I
yes.
learned, yeah, which is so key, right? If you take the learning from everything as you go and then apply it. But I mean, I can't tell you, like I said, my business has literally changed my whole life. Now, it wasn't $1 million overnight kind of thing. But I mean, when I think back, literally after my divorce in 2019, and this is for anyone out there who feels like, can I even do this? I was working at a yoga studio, literally making $9 an hour. I mean,
Mhm.
looking back and just thinking like, wow, like I
Oh
can't
my
even
God.
believe that I like accepted that for myself. But I was so in just a broken space mentally and everything. And it was great. It was what I needed at that time. So not even knocking it, but I'm just saying like going from that to building now like a multi six-figure business is just like, oh my gosh, like the level of empowerment I feel knowing that no matter what, like I can take care of my son and
Oh,
myself.
girl.
Like
Yes.
oh, I have so much chills just thinking about it. And what really, really, and this is true, like made the biggest difference for me was I took my tax return in 2021. My son was about 8 months old. I had been trying to become a virtual assistant because I decided when he was 6 months old, it was coming off of COVID. I had
Yeah.
unemployment from the yoga studio. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this work no matter what. And
Hmm.
making that decision, I swear, like I talk about that all the time with people, like just making that decision that no matter what, I'm gonna make this work. And
Hmm.
then seeing like 2 months, I was like submitting all these applications, doing all the things. I decided to take my tax return and invest in a virtual assistant training program. Within a month, I had my first client. I mean, they supported you all the way and everything you needed. And it was like a whole new world opened up for me in making that decision. But oh my gosh, I was like so nervous to invest that money.
Yeah.
It was like the hardest thing ever for me to actually push that button and make that payment because I was like, if this doesn't work, I just like blew, I can't remember if it was like $2,000 or $3,000, but it was, I mean, I went to college and, got my
Yeah.
degree, but luckily I had the Hope Scholarship here in Georgia. And so I hadn't really invested that much besides a little bit in student loans. But oh my gosh, it was the hardest decision to make, but best decision that I could have possibly made when I,
I'm gonna triple click on that one because same for me. When I first hired my business coach, after I was popsicle sticking and duct taping things together from
yeah.
this freebie and this training or whatever, I only had $100 in my bank account that I could even like say yes to. And it was a $10,000 program. And I was like,
Wow.
no, I love this woman. I
Yeah.
resonate with her. I want to learn what it is that she's teaching. And my brain was like, what the heck are you doing? Like, you've got three children
Yes.
and you have $100. Like, who are you to say yes to a $10,000 investment?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
luckily, it was an investment that I had to pay up front.
Right.
Luckily, I had an amazing coach who was like, I've got you. Like, let's just, what do you want to say yes to? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can give you $100 as my yes.
Yep.
And then let's figure out how I get the next month payment. And it
Yeah.
was because she did that for me. I mean, like I have to say, like that was the most important thing in my journey, in my business journey, to say yes, even when I didn't have physical evidence
Oh,
that it could happen.
yes.
I made six figures in 6 months because of that decision. Because I
Ah,
said yes, not knowing how. I said
yeah.
yes without the physical evidence. I said yes. And so guess what? I had to figure it out.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay, I'm
Yeah.
in, and now we're going. Like back to
Yes.
post, we are going forward.
Oh my gosh, so powerful. Yes, all because I love to say this all the time. It's in my book. Just the sneak peek to everyone. I'm writing a book. I'll be
Yes,
announcing
can't
it
wait to get
soon.
it.
But when you bet on yourself, you can't lose. And I
Yeah,
mean that like in a sense of like you took that $100 and you made the decision internally, like I
yep,
am gonna do this. And then
yep,
you did the freaking work and just
yep,
grinded it out and made it happen. Oh my
yep,
gosh, I love what you said about moving before you have the physical evidence, right? Because I feel
yep,
like that's been over and over again in my business.
yep,
It's just you have to really, really hone in and get clear and make the commitment within
yep,
yourself to make it work.
absolutely.
Just freaking figure it out, right?
And nobody has the confidence or the results up front when they make the decision. So let me just say, for those of you that are thinking, well, once I have the confidence, then I will, or once I
Yeah,
have all of the money saved up, I will. Honey, that ain't ever going to happen. Like
yeah,
we get the money, we spend it on something else.
yeah.
Confidence happens by doing,
Mhm.
and I was terrified when I made that decision too. Like it wasn't like once I made the decision, like my brain calmed down. Like I literally like tried to back out like 3 times and I'm like, oh, maybe I can't do this. And luckily I had a
Yeah,
really good coach who was like, let's go. Like, let's do
yeah,
this. And I'm like, okay, you're right. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I can't do this. And she's like, let's go. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Like,
yeah.
but that is what needs to happen. And that's the way that you build confidence. That's the
Mhm.
way that you build a business, not again by thinking, well, I have to have all of these things first and then
Yes,
I'll commitment, make the
right,
commitment.
right.
Doesn't
Oh
work that
my
way.
gosh. Yes, and oh, it brought up another thing for me too. I remember I know I'm one of those people, like, I would have got stuck on my logo forever and never even started. But, like, because I had invested that money, you better believe I went through every module of that course and did exactly what they said.
Yep.
When it was logo time, I was like, "All right, Crystal, you have 24 hours." I set a deadline for myself. You're gonna decide your business name and you're gonna pick your logo. And
Yep.
literally, because I knew if I like allowed myself to get stuck on that, I wasn't gonna get into motion and get the clients, and
Mhm.
that wasn't the most important thing. Like, let's go. Like, I was so ready. Like, I was like, I have to get a client now. I've made this investment. It's time.
Yes.
But not getting stuck on like little things like that. Cause so many things, right? We can be like, oh, well, I can't start till I have a website or I can't.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Like, just go, girl. Like,
Yes, press the
amazing.
go button.
Yes,
Yes.
press
Oh my gosh.
go.
This is so, yeah, I'm so glad that we're, finishing up on this because this is really, really powerful. If
Yeah.
take nothing else away
Yes.
from this
Yes.
conversation, which
Yes.
there are a lot of juicy gold nuggets, like
Yes.
grab a pen and paper. You're going to want to listen to this one over again for sure.
Yeah.
Anytime you feel like you can't do it, like definitely come back to this episode. But,
Mhm.
the how opens with our commitment. The how
Yeah.
opens with our commitment.
I love that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And that isn't that the truth though? Isn't
Mhm.
that the truth? I've seen it so many times is having that massive self-belief and the commitment to just make it
Mhm.
work no matter what and then
Yeah.
take mind action, which I know you
Yes.
said earlier. It's like take
Yeah.
action and it doesn't have to be perfect action. We're all
No.
and
Let it be
honestly,
scrappy.
yeah, be scrappy and like now we are in the age of AI. Like, oh my gosh, like it's so helpful if you don't know what to write for content, like you have that that'll help you.
Mhm, mhm.
When I mean, I know when you started and when I started, it was really like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do?" And like,
I know. What do I
you
do? What
know?
do I say? What is even a Facebook Live? I mean, like it was, yeah, it's so much easier now to like I mean, I truly think that based on where I was years ago when I started, the
Mhm.
opportunities to build and grow are a lot more simple, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You can press a button and go and live stream from your phone. That
yeah,
wasn't available back then. You can create visibility so much easier. So whenever I hear someone say it's hard, I
yeah,
really want to just I kind of double check that because I'm like, hard compared to what? Like
right. Yep, yes,
pressing a button on your phone to share something of value for somebody is not hard.
right.
Birthing a baby's hard. That's hard.
Right.
That's a little difficult, not that
Absolutely.
there's not a learning curve in whenever we're building and growing our business, but you know, now is a great opportunity to lean in and to be able to do the things. It might be new, it
Mhm,
might be a little scary, it might be a little uncomfortable,
mhm.
but it's not really hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just investing in the support. I mean, like I said, I spent 2 months, and honestly, I say 2 months, but I had looked into virtual assisting years before. Like I said, I had tried my Poshmark, different businesses. and just couldn't ever really get the traction in anything. But when I made the decision to invest in that support, because it's like you can get there on your own, yes, but like how much time are you going to spend or
Yep.
waste that you could
Yep.
already be
Yep.
making that investment back 10,
Yes.
20, I mean, 100 times over if
Yeah.
you invest in someone to lead the way
Yep.
and you have someone there to support you when these questions come up, because there's a lot of questions that come up building a business. It's like, what do I do
Yep.
here? This popped up. How do I do it? Just to have the access to get those answers. Oh my gosh. I mean, like it was a game
It's
changer. Within
priceless.
a month,
Yeah.
I had a client after that,
Yep.
and then it was just up from
Yep.
there. And I
Yep.
I will say too, I had that first client and then I was new and she needed someone with a lot more experience. So it only lasted a month and I was devastated. I was so sad because it was like a dream client. So I did like, sit and kind of cry about it for a minute, but then I got back up and I kept going because that's what we do as entrepreneurs.
Yep.
So if you have something like that come up too, and it wasn't that she was like, you're amazing, like you're gonna go far, but like I just need a different level of support. So
Yep.
while it was really, really difficult, it was still like a learning experience. Was like, okay, like I can still do this. I can keep going. So that came up for me too, because I'm like, things will happen where your heart is kind of broken and you tried so hard and maybe it didn't
Yeah.
pan out, but just keep growing and
Yes.
going and you will get there is the big thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't
Crystal,
give up.
thank you so much for this conversation. This is so, so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So be sure, everybody who's listening here, go into the show notes because we are going to have Crystal's information in there. You can connect with her on Instagram. And we're going to have, any the ways, different things that she's got coming up. Be sure to look out for her book, which is coming up, which is really, really excited. And Crystal, thank you so much. This was so awesome. I definitely want to have you back because we've got lots of conversations to have for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, awesome. All right, everybody, take care. Go into the description, connect with Crystal, and let her know that you heard about her from Soulful Abundance with Chris. All
Yes,
right.
yes, I'd love to stay connected.
Yeah. Bye.
Everybody.